The fan reaction split is also a major factor. Post-race fan reactions from a similar event showed overwhelming positivity for the patriotism and spectacle, with many calling it historic and memorable. However, logistics issues were the main complaint: long lines for ferries, not enough trams or shade, vendors running out of food, and people walking long distances. One fan called it a classic government/NASCAR *T show. Even critics said the experience was worth it and hoped for a return. But what if the pre-race concerns about security and track difficulty lead to that logistical nightmare? The post-event fan love was for a successful execution. What if it's not? The 2026 schedule domino effect is real. If Coronado vacates its June date, what fills it? A second short track? Another road course? The ripple effects on the playoff landscape could be huge. The Enduro 250 was designed not only as a major sporting event but also as part of the Navy's 250th anniversary celebration. Its potential loss would leave a significant hole in the calendar and a black eye on NASCAR's innovation record. We now have a perfect storm: a military base worried about its mission, politicians questioning a photo op, drivers questioning the product's safety and competitiveness, and a sport betting its reputation on pulling it off. The clock is ticking. Final security plans must be approved. Driver concerns need to be addressed in simulations. The next 60 to 90 days are decisive. Either all parties find a workable compromise, or NASCAR will have to make a humbling, expensive retreat. So we turn it over to you, the fans. Is this a risk worth taking? Is the historical significance and unique spectacle worth the potential operational headaches and driver safety questions? Or has NASCAR bitten off more than it can chew? If you think this analysis hits the mark, show it with a like. It helps more fans find the truth. And if you're tired of surface-level news and want deep dives into the sport's biggest dilemmas, you need to be part of the NASCAR Nation Report family. We're pushing to 15,000 subscribers to bring you more stories like this every week. Subscribe now and join the conversation. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. When multiple powerful entities, the DoD, Navy brass, lawmakers, and drivers, are reportedly unhappy, NASCAR's leverage shrinks. On a federal military installation, they are a guest with a very conditional invitation. This has sparked inevitable speculation about alternatives. Could it move to a civilian street circuit in San Diego? A temporary layout at a local airport? The financial and PR cost of a last-minute move would be catastrophic. Every day this hangs in the balance, the more Plan B leaks will surface. The construction timeline is aggressive. NASCAR's design and development team, led by Operations Director Brian Gaia, Senior Director Jeremy Casperson, and Managing Director of Track Development Jerry Caprote, began work on May 25. Track walls were first laid on June 1, with work on the track layout running through June 17, 2 days before on-track action was slated to begin. With barriers and fencing on either side of the course, that equates to 6.8 miles of wall and fence, with 3,184 barriers all installed by the deadline. The work has been unrelenting, with 17 straight days of work to ensure completion. The collaboration with the Navy has been unprecedented. Amy Lupo, president of the NASCAR San Diego project, whose career is in temporary events like the X Games and the Clash at the Coliseum, stated, "Temporary events is my entire career. Expect the unexpected. Plan, and overplan, and be ready to pivot it at a moment's notice." Casperson explained the language barrier. We speak a language, NASCAR does, and the Navy, rightly so, speaks their own language. And trying to learn their language and exactly how it translates to our language and vice versa, it's been a learning process. Gaia added, "The real mission is America's military here, first and foremost. And so coordinating with the squadrons here has been critical." The final course layout is similar to what was originally presented to a small group of drivers who offered feedback. Erasing played a pivotal role, creating a LiDAR scan to create true-to-life renders. Caprote noted, "We utilized drivers who would come to the R&D center on the erasing format program. We'd go back to the drivers and meet with them regarding some of the competitive locations." Despite this, the driver concerns persist, focusing on the tight margins for error and unpredictable surfaces common to street circuits. This situation is a critical test for NASCAR's anything is possible ethos. The clash at the Coliseum worked. The Chicago street race worked. But those were on civilian, controlled property. Coronado is the ultimate stress test. If this collaboration collapses, it sends a chilling message to other potential military or government partners. It could poison the well for future collaborations, like a race on an Army base or a Coast Guard ceremony. The precedent is enormous. For some, honoring means not disrupting their mission. While generals and politicians debate, the drivers who have to navigate the 3.4-mile street circuit are raising their own red flags, and they're not holding back. According to ESPN's reporting, several competitors have privately expressed frustration with the proposed layout. The temporary circuit is expected to weave through portions of the military installation, and some drivers feel it crosses the line between challenging and unnecessarily difficult. One Cup Series driver told sources that while street courses are naturally demanding, this particular design adds difficulty without necessarily improving the quality of competition. The specific design grievances are concrete. First, narrow runoffs and limited escape routes. On a street circuit, a mistake means a concrete wall. Compare that to purpose-built road courses like Circuit of the Americas, COTA, or Watkins Glen International, which have ample runoff areas. At Coronado, a slide off the track might mean sliding into a sensitive communications shed or a fuel depot. Second, surface inconsistencies. The abrasive surfaces around the base necessitated roughly $1 million worth of work on the surfaces alone. That includes welding over manholes, electrical boxes, and compressed air boxes, plus smoothing out a section of railroad tracks used for cranes. Drivers are saying it's still a patchwork of grip levels, a nightmare for car setup and tire management. The sentiment from some is that the difficulty is gimmicky, not skill rewarding. It's not a natural road course like Road America, it's a forced, tight layout that might produce crashes, not competition. Consider the Project 91 entry with Kevin Magnussen. The longtime Formula One veteran becomes the fourth driver for Trackhouse Racing's program. His respectable 21st place qualifying effort shows the number 91 Chevrolet has potential, but if an F1 veteran on a street course is struggling in practice, what does that say about the layout's drivability for everyone? His background in F1 and sports car racing on street circuits was supposed to be a perfect match. The reported struggles highlight the track's unique and unforgiving character. Despite all of this, NASCAR leadership is publicly standing firm. NASCAR CEO Steve O'Donnell has downplayed suggestions that the race could be moved and has emphasized that planning efforts continue as scheduled. According to NASCAR's official position, communication with Naval Base Coronado leadership remains active and productive. A spokesperson reiterated that safety remains the top priority for everyone involved, including fans, drivers, military personnel, and event staff. The organization also stressed that the goal remains the same, honoring service members while delivering the kind of world-class racing experience NASCAR fans expect. But read between the lines, no official move is a legal position, not a guarantee. When NASCAR first announced a race inside Naval Base Coronado, it felt like a home run, a perfect fusion of patriotism, innovation, and spectacle. The images were instant classics, stock cars tearing past hangars, celebrating the Navy's 250th. But now, that dream is hitting a wall of reality. Not just one wall, but a fortress of security protocols, political red tape, and frustrated drivers. What was hailed as a historic masterstroke is suddenly looking like a logistical minefield. This isn't about rain delays or a bumpy surface. This is about the fundamental question: can you turn a working military installation into a temporary public racetrack without crippling its core mission? And if you can't, what does that mean for one of the biggest events on the 2026 calendar? According to a recent ESPN report, concerns are now growing among officials within the Department of Defense and naval leadership. The core conflict is that Naval Base Coronado is not a venue. It's a home. It houses SEAL training, helicopter squadrons, and critical Pacific Fleet operations. Imagine trying to host a Super Bowl inside an active FBI academy. That's the scale we're talking about. One of the biggest issues revolves around security and daily military operations. Hosting a NASCAR race would mean welcoming tens of thousands of spectators, media members, team personnel, sponsors, VIP guests, and support staff onto a functioning base. Military sources worry that managing that volume of visitors could place enormous pressure on existing security systems designed for personnel, not a mass public influx. The operational interference is a separate, critical headache. Race weekend traffic on base roads could delay emergency responses, personnel movement for duty, and, critically, flight operations for training squadrons. As one source summed up to ESPN, opening a base for a parade or a community event is one thing, but transforming a naval air station into a temporary public racetrack is a completely different level of complexity. You're not just closing streets, you're creating a dynamic hazard zone in the middle of a secure compound. A jet taxiing for a training mission can't wait for a caution lap. The source was blunt. We support the celebration, but the execution plan as it stands creates unacceptable risk to our readiness. These concerns have moved up the chain. Some lawmakers have reportedly raised questions about whether a large civilian entertainment event should be held on military property during a period of heightened global tensions. The Navy has continued defending the project as an opportunity to honor service members and strengthen community connections. But critics ask, is a weekend of fanfare worth potential delays in sailor training or aircraft maintenance? There's a deep irony here. The event is meant to honor 250 years of service, but if it creates operational headaches, it could be seen as disrespectful to the very people it aims to celebrate.